This is actually a great story. I go to the Cannes Film Festival and I'm a student, I've got no money, I don't know anyone, and I'm on the Blag. Now, when I was younger, I used to be what I consider a blagger. Now, of course, I would never do any of those things because it's not good to do those things, but I didn't think it was bad at the time. So I am at Cannes, and I'd heard that there was ways of being able to steal tickets to get into the big parties, the big movie parties. And so I decided I was going to go to the MTV party, which is like one of the biggest parties at Cannes at the time. So they had this big place on the beach and you couldn't get in without tickets. And so I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a ticket to this fucking event. So I put on my nicest clothes. I go and get my hair done at a place close by. I make myself look $1 million, and then I walk into the Carlton Hotel. Now, when you get up to the Carlton Hotel, there's like major security and you are not allowed in, like you just can't. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm staying here. And the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, madam. In you go. So he lets me in. I then go into the hotel, and then I'm looking. So in the hotels, what happens is, back in the day, oh God, I hope nobody's watching this. Back in the day, they would rent out different rooms in the hotel to different film companies to use them to promote their films. So I went to the MTV office and I said, look, I've come to pick up tickets, and I named a famous person's name. I was like, I'm their PA and I've come to pick up tickets. Now, in those days, you know, yeah. Anyway, so I go in and I'm sitting there, and they're like, we don't seem to have the tickets in here. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't name the right person's name. So I'm like, look, the tickets have got to be in there. So this poor girl, oh God, I'm such an awful person. This poor girl, she then leaves and goes and asks her boss where the tickets are for this guy. And so she walks out. She's left the box of tickets on the table. I dive into this box, I take an envelope and I shove it up my top, and it's an A4 envelope. And so now my shirt has got, you know, because the envelope's underneath my shirt. So I'm like this. She walks back in and I'm like, oh, look, just don't worry about it. I'll go. And she goes, well, would you like some free sunblock and a bottle of water for wasting your time? And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Took that and left. Oh my God, I'm such an awful person. Oh, I was very young. I was very naughty. I was just naughty and young. I'm very sorry. I do apologize. I will never do it again. Anyway, so then I leave. I go up through the hotel because it was down in the basement. I go blagging through life, right? I then run upstairs into the hotel lobby, into the foyer, and my heart is just in my chest because I'm just waiting to get busted. I then get out of the hotel, I run down the road and I go into a coffee shop and I open the envelope, and the envelope has 2 tickets to the party, and the tickets to the party are the faces of Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh, and they're these masks that you put on. Anyway, I've now got tickets to the hottest fucking party in town. I am then in this cafe, I'm chatting away to somebody. I meet this guy and he's like, hey, do you want to come for lunch with me? And I'm like, fuck it, let's go. So I go off and have lunch with this guy, but I'm not really vibing with him that much that I want to give him my other ticket. So I'm like, who am I going to give my other ticket to? I'm trying to find somebody that I quite like to go to a party with, but I can't find anyone. So I'm like, fuck it. I've got 2 tickets to this great party, but I don't have anybody to go with. I'm just going to go by myself. I'm just being silly in this photograph. So this is the dress, the blue dress. And that's what I looked like. But this is like quite a while later, this photograph. Because I love that dress. I used to have that dress with me everywhere. So this dress was sequins from tit to ankle, right? And I mean, it was stunning, but it was also quite see-through. To get into this party, you're standing at the top of the beachfront. So what happens is at Cannes, they have this big long promenade, and then you have these steps that go down into these party spaces that are below. Yeah, from tit to ankle, sweetheart. And I turn up at this party, and the queues and the people that are trying to get in, oh my God, it was just crazy. So there's millions of people and they're all standing at the top watching all the celebrities go in. I pull up in a taxi and it was like parting the Dead Sea. I literally get out of the car in this dress that's, you know, sequins from tit to ankle, and everybody's just moving out of my way, trying to work out who the fuck I am, because of course I'm nobody. I'm just a chick in a dress from Peckham Market that looks amazing but is nobody. I then they asked me for my ticket. I give them my ticket and they let me into the party, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm into this party. I don't know anyone. So now I'm standing at the top of these stairs, and they have, you know, like in Batman, they have that big light that shoots up into the sky. So there's two of these lights pointing to the top of the stairs, and Sarah Valentine, the disco ball, has arrived at the party, and everybody at the party below suddenly turned around and looked up at me. Honestly, there would have been, I don't know, maybe 200 people all staring at me, because of course my dress hit these lights, and so the lights are beaming off this dress. I mean, there's just fucking blue lights just flying everywhere, and everybody at this party is looking up at me, and I can hear people going, oh my God, it's a Chanel. It's a Chanel. I've seen that dress. It's Chanel. And everybody's whispering around saying it's a Chanel. It's this, it's that. It's a fucking £15 dress from Peckham Market. It's a piece of shit, but I made it look fabulous. I've got really high heel shoes on. I've borrowed these shoes from a friend of mine who's a model, and they're Manolo Blahnik. So I've got these, I can't even say the name properly. Manolo Blahnik? I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, so I've got these Manolo Blahnik shoes on. I'm walking down this matted stair, right? So it's a rope stairway. I don't know anyone, and I'm just wishing that I could see somebody that I know, and I spot Jason Donovan. Like Jason Donovan, I don't know if you've heard of Jason Donovan, but back in the 80s, Jason Donovan was like a very famous actor who was in a television show called Neighbours, and he is standing there, and I walk over to him and I'm like, oh God, Jason, like this, and I put my arms around, and I'm like, put my arms around him, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And then I whisper in his ear and I go, please pretend that you know me. I don't know anyone here. I've blagged my way into the party. Can you just be cool? And he was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I went, my name's Sarah, right? And so he's like, Sarah, let me introduce you. So then he introduced me to a bunch of people. Dolph Lundgren is at the party, and I get my feet and I get a drink, and I'm just like, okay, this is okay. I'm good. I'm in. And I'm like, it's so great to see you, Jason. And I walk off and I go to the bar and I go and get myself a drink. And then I decide that I'm going to go and do some dancing on the dance floor. So I'm now dancing on the dance floor by myself with a drink. And, oh my God, this actor was really famous. He was in 9.5 Weeks. Oh my God, my menopause brain is just not working. His face looks terrible now. He's had so much plastic surgery. Oh God, what's his name? Oh, I've got to Google. Hang on a second. Let me Google. Anyway, so I am on the dance floor, and this security guy comes up and he says, this guy's name, Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke, thank you. He's like, Mickey's in the private area. He'd like you to come through. And I was like, well, if Mickey's in the private area and he would like me to come through, I think he should maybe come to me and I'll see him out here. Thank you very much. I can't believe that I did that. Like literally, Mickey Rourke was just like, tell that girl out there she can come in here. I'm like, fucking Mr. Mickey Rourke, you can fucking come here. I'm not going to you. So yeah, Mickey Rourke is there, and Dolph Lundgren is there, and there's a bunch of celebrities that are there, and we're all having a great time. And I ended up making friends with this young guy who was there. We had a really good night. We were dancing together and we had loads of fun. And then I ended up walking back to my hotel by myself. Oh, so crazy. Pretty dangerous, really, when I think about it. And I'm walking along, and Lenny Kravitz is walking ahead of me, and I'm in my high heel shoes that are like breaking my feet. And I was just like, oh my God, Lenny. And I for the life of me, I couldn't catch up with him. But that's a little story. The story of the Cannes Film Festival.